Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molder. What'd you do this weekend, bud? It was another weekend of just tons of sports. There was college basketball. I think you got a tournament winner again or something. NBA was fantastic. There was great NBA games both days. The golf was golf. What else is going on? There was UFC. Somebody hit a big underdog, that Grasso lady. It was
I
everything.
should go. Yeah, I should go back and look at
XFL.
years past. I feel like the Atlantic Sun is, and maybe it's because I just get burnt out further down. The Atlantic Sun is the first tournament always. It's not the first tournament to finish, but it's always the first one I write about. And I feel like I've always done well in that one for some reason. Maybe it's because I spend the most time on it. I'm all excited. But yeah, the Kennesaw State Owls, as high as 3, 4, 5 to 1 at some places. Not only that, but I mentioned it on the show last week. I said, man, I just don't understand how they don't end up at least in the final. That should be like 75% to happen. And they were pricing it at minus 135. So I did have a free roller into the final there. I placed a little of that. So but great for them to win. And yes, Kevin, it sucks, but the unfortunate truth is, of the 32 tournaments, probably gonna have a lot of teams. It won't be the last team that loses. Although there were some real heartbreakers. Indiana State, who knows what kind of who knows what kind of test they would have given Drake there in the final, but Indiana State losing right at the end in the MVC, that was a 7 to 1. If they could have held that game, they would have been in the final. The Radford in the Big South was a 5 to 1. They lost on a kind of a last minute bucket to Eastern Washington. I guess just bad pick by me. They were up huge. Eastern Washington was up by a bunch, and that's on them for letting a bad team back into it in a conference tournament. They should not have struggled with. So I'm going to spend all day after this. I'm doing some draft stuff too, but a lot of time writing conference tournaments. There's like 16 tournaments that are starting between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I have a lot of the skeletons of those previews written, but I have to decide who I think wins. Almost all of them at this point. I'll have one later on in the show, but lot of that. Otherwise, what I did this weekend, Noops, I'm not technically an assistant coach, but I'm kind of like the mascot slash helper for a under 12 girls volleyball team. And the funniest part was some teams didn't show up to a tournament. We ended up in the losers bracket, and because we didn't play so well in pool play, same thing, guys, as Hilmers. A lot of really close matches where we lost by two. It'd be some first to 25 had to extend the score to like a 26-24. Just tough pool play. But the best part about losing in pool play, you end up in the soft bracket, and for some reason, if you win that bracket, you get medals. Like, hey, you're the best of the worst. So, congrats to those girls. They got the mood of an 11-year-old improves greatly if you give them a medal after they've beaten some other lesser teams. So, kind of came out of the weekend a champion a couple different ways. Kennesaw State and that.
I mean, your record was whatever and one, right?
I mean, they won some games in the pool play, but no best of three. So
But that still sounds like they had a pretty good record. I mean, what are we looking at?
yeah,
6-2, 8-2.
a lot of points scored too. So
There you
just a
go.
lot of scoring, some good serving. The service return is really improving. Let's go. They don't have like a team mascot because it's JO, so you don't take the high school team's mascot. It's just like Stewie under 11 purple team. So let's go purple team.
Purple team.
Purple team. I do have. There's some good NBA questions we'll get to. I won't spend a lot of time on golf. I should stop doing this on Monday. I'm just trying to fill time apparently. Well, I look at it. I have some ideas, but I really don't like to make outright bets until bookmaker pops up,
It's
and
all
they're
part of the
not up on
process.
Mondays. So, and it's the same field as last week, guys. You're seeing a lot of the same names, and Rom, Rory, Scheffler on top. That's how it's going to be for all of these elevated events. I don't know that they'll skip a lot of these at all. And I mean, just looking at you got JT Cantlay, Homa 20-ish, Xander, Victor. I'll probably bet Victor again. Honestly, like if I find a 30 on Victor Hovland, I know he had some luck. You're not going to get aces and chip ins from the fairway every week, but I thought he played really well. I thought Finau played well. I thought Jason Day is probably someone I'm going to continue to bet. My card is going to look very similar to last week because this is not that dissimilar of a course. The conditions should be probably pretty similar as well. So I will probably be avoiding the big dogs again, going a little further down the card. But like we talked about last week with Noonan, not too far. Although that was kind of I kind of took one in the rear on that as a 200-1. Kurt Kitayama did take the tournament down, but that's another one where good luck finding which one of those long shots is going to be near the top of the board because other than him, the rest of the top of the board was just chalk. I mean, it was all 30 and below prices. So I'm looking at a similar card. I'll have some stuff out as we go later this week. Matchups did pretty well though. Everyone except the one I talked about on the show won.
So, that's why you got to do the BetSports Golf thing.
Sorry about that, but
it's really that easy.
Or go to betsportsgolf.com and subscribe to the newsletter. I put another one in there every week too for free. If you just want free picks and you don't want to pay for anything, that's fine. Like there's going to be a free full tournament head-to-head in the newsletter every week. That one won fairly easily, I believe. That one was decided by the cut line, so that was pretty easy.
I like it.
So, all right. Do you want to talk 6 man of the year quick before you get into your pick?
Well, quickly,
is it too early to like? It's not too early for rookie of the year to be like decided, I guess. But 6 man's such a goofy market because we've seen this during the beginning of the season. Alex, there was favorites that's like, oh shit, he got a job. It's like once you get it, you're done with the market because you're going to start too much. Is there any worries about either of the top 2 picks like starting at all during this season? For quickly and
my only regret at this point is that I just haven't done a better job of going through and saving 6 man prices throughout the year. I mean, this has been nuts. We had a point where Russell Westbrook was minus 250. I think he even touched the minus 300s at some point. Now we're looking at, depending on where you look, I mean, I know quickly is anywhere from minus 125. I think there was a PPH that has them at minus 1200 or something like that. So I think this is kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the year a lot. There hasn't been a clear-cut candidate for this award all season. There really hasn't been anybody. Westbrook was the favorite for some reason for a long time. It was supposed to be Jordan Poole, but he gets pushed into the starting lineup basically, so that kind of wipes him out. You start to look down the board. Then it was, well, I guess we'll just give it to Brogdon because the Celtics are good, but he's not really exciting. He might not even be the best bench player on his own team at this point. And we thought it would be Maxey as he filled into that Sixers role. And Maxey's been great. And he's gotten a little bit of support, but I mean, just blowing, kind of through here, the pack, if you will, at the end of the race. I mean, we've got Emmanuel Quickly and a lot of good things going for him. Weak field, putting up huge numbers at the right time of the year, putting up huge numbers on national TV games, and he's on a New York team, folks. I mean, we saw it happen with Thibodeau a couple of years in that Coach of the Year award where, the Knicks got hot, got a home playoff series, and all of a sudden, after it was Monty Williams or Quinn Snyder all season, Thibodeau comes out of nowhere to win Coach of the Year. So not quite totally out of nowhere this time, but I threw it out. I think it was on Tuesday last week. If you don't have any Quickly get some, I hope you did because, man, that thing moved fast. So, again, I don't really see a better option. I mean, Brogdon does deserve some consideration, but it does. Maybe it's just Quickly here. But as we've seen, it's flip-flop. So who knows? Another couple of weeks, maybe somebody else, maybe Norman Powell averages 40 a week off the bench for the last month of the season. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not taking any of the long shots. Any chance Brunson and IQ could win?
Yeah, most improved player for Brunson basically would be the award there. Again, it was something that I think a couple of weeks ago I probably would have kind of rolled my eyes at a little bit, even feeling a little confident about Quickly. But you look at most improved player of the year, it looks like Markkanen has really grabbed a stranglehold of it. The Shai Gilgeous-Alexander injury these last couple of weeks has, really cleared things up for that. Yeah, most improved player. I mean, the way these things have been moving so quickly and it's been changing such a ton, the only award that I think you shouldn't bet is Rookie of the Year. But I'm looking at Brunson plus 320. I don't love that number. I was hoping for something maybe closer to plus 450, plus 500. But I can't hold it against you at this point to place a small wager on Brunson. The way the Knicks are just sprinting to the end of the season here. And again, you've got that New York media vote. It's going to be a lot closer than people realize.
I'm down. All right. Yeah, no, we know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, parlay it if you can. I wonder if someone might let you do that.
I love that.
I
looked at that. There's some places
right now,
that,
you do that. Hold on.
There's places that will let you parlay conference championship bets for this week if you want to get real weird.
See if maybe you could do that. I don't know. Do the because the New York media vote correlated parlay.
I finally did that one year. I got sick of there'd be these conferences where it was like clear, like, hey, Dayton is minus 250 to win the tournament. And it's just like, man, they're an at-large. They're going to win this tournament. I can't bet that. I think it was back when, God, who was the really good player on Dayton like 4 years ago? I can't think of now. Probably in the NBA. It's going to bother me. But like, it was just so apparent they were going to win the tournament that I parlay Obi Toppin. Yeah, thank you. I was going to parlay them with like Gonzaga, and it paid like even money. And I looked, the more and more I looked at it, it's like, shit, this is a really good parlay. And then I think it was like, oh, guess what? We're canceling all the tournaments because like, it was like COVID year. I think that's what happened to that one. So, but tonight you do have a bet tonight in the association, something actionable that we're going to gamble on right now. Lay it on me. What are we doing this? What are we doing this for?
A tiny slate. Usually Monday is a bigger day. Only 6 games for us tonight. Quickly going through. I've got one play here. Celtics Cavaliers. That should be a lot of fun. The Cavaliers are 6.5-point favorites at home over the Boston Celtics. That means everyone's sitting on Boston. Jaylen Brown's probably going to be out tonight. Time Lord might be out. Horford. So just wait and see what the actual injuries are for that one. Should be a nice spot for the Cleveland Cavaliers. My Sixers, 6.5-point favorites over the Pacers. Wanted to bet the Pacers, but on a back-to-back, Halliburton's on 100%. It's a real messy spot. So lean Pacers, but we'll pass that one. Producer Dan's Atlanta Hawks, 3-point underdogs against the Miami Heat. The Heat have been taking some money this morning. I'm not really sure what's up there. That number looked pretty close. Maybe a little bit of value on the under, a little bit of value on the Hawks early on, but we'll see. I mean, maybe I'll play the Hawks if this gets out to 3.5, 4, but want to see what's going on there with the movement. Nuggets 6.5-point favorites over the Raptors, right on my number. The Kings to light the beam, -5 against the Pelicans. That looked pretty good. I was thinking about playing an under there, but I need to figure out whether De'Aaron Fox is out. So if Fox is out, grab the under there. But the one bet I did actually place, and just double check if you've got a schedule that you're using earlier from the year. It looks like a few things moved around. There was a game that was postponed. It was a Wizards-Pistons game. And the last couple of days, there have been a few games I think that have been moved around to try to, kind of help them out. If for whatever reason, for my preseason schedule, I had this game listed as tomorrow. But the Detroit Pistons host the Portland Trailblazers. And I know the Pistons are an absolute mess. They were 16-point underdogs in Cleveland just the other day. And man, that was a pretty good number. Cavaliers actually covered that. I mean, no Bogdanovich, no Cade Cunningham, but they go up against a Portland team really with no centers to speak of without Nurkic here. Drew Eubanks has just been getting obliterated by big men the last couple weeks. And as much as Detroit doesn't really have much, they do have Marvin Bagley and they do have James Wiseman, 2 guys that are going to pick and roll the Portland Trailblazers team to death. Bagley should have a good night. I'm going to try to look around and see, maybe find some of his props or something like that. We'll see. Again, should be a pretty good night for him. So really like this spot for the Pistons at home. The Blazers, I believe, on a back-to-back as well. It was a bad schedule spot. I can't remember exactly what it was. But, again, great spot for Detroit here. I'm going to take the points. Nothing better than holding your nose for a stinky underdog. Yeah,
and how about Halliburton? Good shot for anybody holding the Bulls under 36.5 wins at this point. I did add a little bit to that when we did our win total Wednesday in the middle of the season. It was a lot of fun. First preview off the press is not quite ready yet. I just have to put an image file and make sure I get an affiliate link in there in case anybody needs a sports book. Put a little cash in. It doesn't even go in my pocket, buddy. I'm on salary. Just helps the company, I suppose. But the WAC tournament does start tomorrow, along with everything. I believe it is the ACC, the A10, the Big West, the MAAC, Atlantic 10, I maybe said already, and the WAC all start tomorrow. So there is 5 tournaments starting tomorrow, and then 9 on Wednesday. The American and the MAC with 1A.
Sneaky great sports squeaks coming up here.
Yeah, this is a fun one. The American Athletic and the MAC don't begin till the 9th, and then the Ivy League, of course, the pain in the ass that they are, only plays on the weekends. So that is Saturday and Sunday. It's always just a 4-team tournament at one of the schools. They always have it Saturday and Sunday because they're not going to miss class. It's getting close to finals
Nerds.
week anyway here. So, and it's probably just going to be Yale. Like Yale is very good. Everybody in my mentions on my post about the falling in love with the 12 seed was posting Bulldog stuff because they like Drake. I think you might be on the wrong Bulldog for 12. I might be a Yaley. I kind of like them as a 12 seed. They're
Woof,
gonna
woof.
yeah, they're gonna be in there. And yeah, there's no day basketball today, which stinks. But boy, guys, we're about to get there. Like we're gonna have so many tournaments going on at once here over the next few days. I have of my conference bets that I've made already. I have Cleveland State, St. Mary's, Towson, and Oral Roberts in action today, as well as Louisiana and Furman in the finals. And I will say this about Furman: uh, I don't care if they lose. I'm going to bet. I'll probably just take Nuga and the points. I would like to see. That's a fun story. Like they snuck one past us. The best play, maybe one of the better players in the league, out for the year, and then suddenly he's back in for the conference tournament. And you have like a 7 seed ripping through the bracket, beating everybody, and now they're in the finals. So I kind of want to see him finish that off and go to the tournament. Nuga's a fun team. So if Furman were to lose, I'm going to break even. Do as you will. You could probably get the money line at, maybe like a 2-1 at this point. But back to the WAC. This one is going to be in Vegas, and I think they wanted to have it at the Orleans. You'll never get the full story on this, but the West Coast Conference had it. So they said, well, we'll go to Mandalay, but then we'll move to the Orleans when the WCC is done. So the first round, which is tomorrow, will be played at the Mandalay Bay, whatever the hell it's called, Michelob Ultra Arena. And then they're going to move over the whole tournament to the Orleans because Gonzaga, St. Mary's will have already taken place like that. That tournament will be done at that point. So they can. It looks like the final is Tuesday in the WCC. So they will move over there. But the whole thing is neutral court. Everything is in Las Wages, and I'm looking at, as I often do. I'm a big second favorite guy, I guess. But this is more of a hey, FanDuel's hanging a bad price, and I was about to say, hey, please don't go blow this up at FanDuel because I haven't published my preview yet, but I don't care. You guys go make some money if you want to. A lot of places have Utah Valley like plus 150, plus 160, 175 is kind of a standard market price for them. And for some damn reason, uh, it's plus 240 right now at FanDuel. Like that price is wrong. It should be probably plus 175, maybe bad. It's a decent toss up between the top two teams. They did only get to play each other once during the regular season because of the unbalanced schedule. But Sam Houston State and Utah Valley, I have them both as about a 35% chance to take this bracket down. Plus 240 is about 29.5%, I think. So just some value in the number. Another one you could look at if you want to get sneaky. The only thing is, I hated taking both because it's like a Dutch at that point. They're on the same side of the bracket. Is God, no, I can't even think of the Southern Utah. All the Utah schools, I guess. And there's a bigger home court advantage for these teams because some of them do play at a bit of altitude. But it's hard to say how some are going to play on a neutral. But the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah did beat both top seeds, and they have the same exact bye advantage. The top 4 teams will have one bye. So Southern Utah, despite being the 3 seed, will have the same advantages as the top 2 seeds. It gets the exact same first round bye. It gets the play on a neutral just like everybody else. And honestly, maybe a little tougher first or quarterfinal matchup and likely Stephen F. Austin, but I don't hate them at 7-1 either. That number's about right. It's a really big team. They have a big front court. They're really great at offensive rebounding / keeping the other team from extended possessions that way. So I don't mind them at 7-1 either, but my official bet will be Utah Valley. Anything, 2-1 or better is just magic for them right now.
I like it. Sounds like a nice little edge there. And again,
The
I agree. Dan
WAC.
pointed it earlier. There's no day college basketball. That's so annoying.
It's the worst. Like just
Speaking of
figure it
annoying,
out.
you can't watch any of these tennis matches I'm about to talk on. I don't know why they can't watch qualifiers. I don't know why. I want to watch
Not
qualifiers.
even on like what's the subscription to? Just like the tennis TV sub. You can't catch it there?
No, they don't have it on Tennis Channel or anything like that. Apparently, there's no cameras at qualifiers.
God.
Stupid. I hate tennis.
I've watched some messed up streams where it's like there's one camera looking down at the court. There's like 3 people watching. So maybe hunt around, but you know what? You can always watch it on Flash Score.
I'll have to flash score it up or something like that. But yes, this is a fun couple of weeks. We've got tournament and NCAA basketball. There's tournaments this week. Obviously, March Madness is coming up, but is also, Andy, the Sunshine Double. And I'm sure that you know what the Sunshine Double is. And if you're not familiar, that is 2 tournaments that are back to back. And I think I'm trying to remember if we had the true Sunshine Double last year, if they had to move Indian Wells again. But for a couple of years, because of COVID, we didn't get to do this. It's the 2 biggest, basically non-Grand Slam tournaments in tennis. We start in Indian Wells here, and it's kind of a fun tournament. They start on a Wednesday and then finish the following week, and then they go to Miami to kind of do the same thing. So that means we have qualifiers today and tomorrow. We'll have a bunch of outright talk tomorrow, I'm sure. The draw should be out in time, and it's West Coast. It's California tennis, so none of this match starts as the show is happening kind of nonsense. You at least have a couple hours, so it's a lot of fun. Are you looking at any ATP stuff? Do you have your ATP model going, or is it just too much college basketball?
Not. Yeah, there's too much college basketball going on right now. / it's the players, but also I just won't be looking. I will look at it, just not in qualifiers. Like I'll wait till there's a draw and I'll get into it at that point. But I'll probably take some outrights, although the men's outrights is going to be a little less fun. There's a player that's missing, but
I didn't know that was still a thing. Did you know that was still a thing?
I didn't. I'm curious how that goes. I don't want to get into the politics of that because, man, I've been over on Facebook recently. Jesus Christ, guys! But yeah, apparently there's still vaccine restrictions as far as playing, so it'll still be pretty top heavy. But the men's, I will definitely have some quarter prices. So these are not the size of a Grand Slam bracket, but they're still big. They're big. These are 1,000 style brackets, so you'll have decent quarter prices and some long shots. I'm definitely going to be looking at that this week, both weeks.
Yeah, I think it's 128 spots, but there's a ton of buys or something. So there's like half of a first round and then like a real first round of a 64 or something. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But let's get into it. Qualifiers today in the women's tournament. I believe the men's have qualifiers as well today. But 3 looks I like this afternoon. And again, all be afternoon plays. The first couple here start right around 2 p.m. Eastern, so you've got a little while. We'll start with Robin Montgomery. This movie number has actually moved away from me a little bit. Young American player I like quite a bit. Has really been building up, her level, playing ITF, playing some of these smaller tournaments. Would be really interested to see how she could do here in California, if she can get through qualifying here, and basically have her in this first match as a pick'em against Magdalena Freck. Freck is a solid favorite at minus 140, and again, I was able to get Montgomery plus 115. I'm looking at plus 120, and looks like Freck money is still coming in. So maybe I'll go back and add a little bit more. It's kind of a tough match to handicap because Freck, again, kind of a veteran of the tour, someone that generally plays higher level, and it's hard to compare how they're going to do against younger players. But a lot of my numbers show good indicators here for Montgomery. And again, I expect this to be a very close match. So happy to take really either player as an underdog. So I'll take Montgomery here, plus 15. You can find plus 20. And then Yasleen Bonaventure goes up against Victoria Kuzmova, and I'll take a first set over 9.5 here. These have been a little tougher to find. One of our favorite offshore books, Andy, has pulled down WTA first set overs here the last 5 or 6 days. Hopefully it comes back when we get the main draw here, but pretty much all a couple regulated books have this. I think I found this at DraftKings. PointsBet also has it as well. But again, first set over 9.5. Had this closer to minus 125 myself. Maybe even would have hung a cheap 10 if I had a chance there to get the push and drawn some money here if I were a book. But again, should be an absolute battle of a first set. 2 women that are strong servers. know how to hold through. And I think that'll be, again, a really competitive first set. And if I get a chance to follow this match a little bit, we'll probably even look at like a second set under. Should be really that nice flow that I talk about. Long first set, quick second set in the WTA. And then parlay here. Two favorites again. Start with Ashlyn Kruger. She goes up against Laura Pigossi. Really like the way Kruger's been playing the last few weeks. Pigossi should be absolutely outmatched here. The price I had for this parlay was minus 285. I had this closer to minus 350. So like Kruger here quite a bit. And Varvara Gracheva, someone who I honestly, I went back and looked. I don't know if I've ever bet on Varvara Gracheva before. This might be an absolute first. I bet against her like 25 times over the last few seasons, but has been playing solid tennis and is just a much better player. She goes up against Petra Marcinko. I'm not really entirely sure who that is or what she even doing here in qualifying for Indian Wells. Some better names here, but was able to get into the field. And again, playing some solid tennis at much lower levels, but this is going to be a big step up for her. And although I'm someone who doesn't rate Kracheva very highly, the market has her at minus 210. I had this closer to minus 275. So put them both together, you get plus 105. So a parlay, a first set over, and then a small underdog for the afternoon.
I concur. Is that it? Is that all we got?
Well, we should talk
What
about.
did I put on the side? Oh,
There
draft
was this
markets.
thing, and this guy, he threw a football real far, and everyone's real excited about that. Do you want to
Yeah, I
talk about it
didn't
now, or
talk.
are you and VR? Do you and VR? What's the next fifth year option?
Fifth year option. Not only will we have it this Thursday, but I think we're gonna do it live for once. We'll have a guest, so you guys who
Yes,
like to join in on the chat on the YouTube can pop
for
in.
instance, free.
Yeah, but Brinson, we're gonna get him as well, but it'll be Ben Solak of
Ooh,
The Ringer. I think he's with The Ringer now. That guy's written for a bunch of places. Very
good for
smart.
him.
He's
That's
already
great work.
said some. He's already said some really smart things in some chats that have me thinking. So, gonna get some of his takes on the markets and how to view some of these performances from the combine, because a lot of it was like, hey, this guy was expected to do this. Guy was expected to do that. This was, sometimes it's more of, hey, this was a surprise, or this was a bad surprise, or we can't really make actionable information or choices on this guy because he has a pro day yet and he didn't do everything, or even some of the weights for running backs, and some of it comparing the weight to their athletic times, like, hey, this guy came in heavy but he ran fast. Like some goofy things can happen with the combine, and some of the markets, I'd say more our markets overreact then react accordingly. So it's still an informational game. We still need to be listening to the right people. And yeah, you can check that out Thursday afternoon over same YouTube channel. So subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. That would be silly if you didn't. And yeah, I'll be back Wednesday. Noops will be here tomorrow with Matt while I'm off talking golf, and we'll catch you then, guys.